Nationwide protests.
Nationwide protests. We had one probably at peaked, probably close to 1,000. I'm not sure quite there, but it peaked pretty high. We had some Proud Boys attempting a counter protest. One of them was arrested pretty immediately after them trying to start some stuff.
Yeah, or at least detained.
At least detained, put in the back of a squad car in cuffs. Crowd was very happy.
For 20-year-olds and under, the world is changing so rapidly that uncertainty is the only certainty.
The only certainty is uncertainty. This is true. This is true. Welcome back to the United Front show. Right as we were about to record, we were just at the No Kings protest.
Nationwide protests.
Nationwide protests. We had one probably at peaked, probably close to 1,000. I'm not sure quite there, but it peaked pretty high. We had some Proud Boys attempting a counter protest. One of them was arrested pretty immediately after them trying to start some stuff.
Yeah, or at least detained.
At least detained, put in the back of a squad car in cuffs. Crowd was very happy.
Oh, he was put in the back of a car? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
So that happened. And so we were out there. A lot of noise.
Big turnout.
Big turnout. The
High
cops
energy.
actually were surprisingly pretty chill.
I thought law enforcement did a good job.
Actually, yeah, they really
maintaining order.
They didn't do anything. They stayed by their cars.
Yep. They were.
And if like a fight broke out, they'd go over and be like, cut it out. And then they go back to their cars.
Yeah.
They really stayed out of the way.
Yeah.
Which I'm happy about.
I don't think there was any real violence, rather just some, screaming, yelling.
Shoving.
Maybe.
There was shoving.
There was some shoving?
There was
Okay.
shoving. That's
All
why
right.
the guy was arrested.
Oh, yeah, that part. Well, he walked right into the middle of the raucous part of the crowd.
Shoved a trans person, too.
Yeah. In our R+30, very red.
Ruby Red District.
Ruby Red area. Huge turnout.
The best they could amount was 5 pickup trucks circling and
with Trump flags.
10 Proud Boys was the best they could amount to.
It was great to see the energy.
I was worried it was going to be a lot more counter protesters. I was expecting there to be more of a real group of people, not just a few pickups, and it was way less than.
Yeah,
it seemed like kind of on Facebook and stuff.
Right.
So
because there were some ugly comments.
Posts with a couple hundred likes, like
all live splatter.
Yeah, all live splatter.
That kind of comment.
Yeah,
so,
not good.
Yeah, it doesn't feel
pretty chill though.
It was great. It was hot out there.
Hot.
Yeah.
I mean, like it zapped your energy out there. So we retreated upstairs, and as we're getting up here, we find out a politician was assassinated.
Yep. Lawmakers are assassinated in Minnesota.
Minnesota. We're impersonating police officers to kill politicians. I'm interested to see what the manifesto is. Apparently they have it. So that's, well, a lot is really starting to decay. Order is starting to decay in this country.
Order is decaying. That's the way to say it, right?
Yeah, it's not gone. It's definitely not gone.
No,
it's here most of the time.
Yes.
But around when you put a little bit of stress to it, it definitely bends way more than it typically does.
Right.
Like the protests happened and then Marines were there almost immediately and Trump took the National Guard instantly. That doesn't usually happen. Like that's what I mean by it's bending way more than it usually does.
Right.
And politicians getting shot at, politicians getting assassinated, that doesn't typically happen. Even in uncertain climate, it doesn't happen. That's what I mean by order is beginning to weaken.
Would we expect anything else?
I would not expect anything different.
From a Trump regime that foments so much hatred.
Yeah,
dissent.
Comfortably within almost any definition of fascism you look up, any definition you pick. Not even the one that like fits my narrative or fits your narrative. Any. And it's pretty much in there now.
Yeah.
Which lumps you in with a very bad group of people from the 30s and 40s.
Maybe all throughout history. But
And all throughout history.
Certainly.
The big ones that everybody knows.
Yeah.
The 30s and 40s.
In the last 100 years.
His administration is officially a part of that list, or should be on that list on Wikipedia. So I think I saw someone say that him sending Marines, 700 Marines, and taking the National Guard from California without informing Gavin Newsom, by the way, just took them. I saw someone say that kind of their personal pet conspiracy theory, which I think has some validity to it, because there's protests happening in Texas that are just as bad, tear gas being shot into crowds in Texas, all over.
No kidding.
Texas has got it bad. I think San Antonio is just as bad as LA. No news about it. Harder to push a narrative. It's Greg Abbott's
Right.
Texas. Harder to push a narrative.
That's interesting.
So Trump, and it's happening in Boston. It's happening everywhere. These big protests. So like while the LA one was happening. So it's not just LA losing itself. It's
Right.
everywhere.
Yeah, definitely.
I saw someone say that it was a TikTok I saw that said Trump is using the Marines in federalizing the National Guard to see how much he can push with force. And he's using it in LA specifically because it's LA. It's easy for him to rally his base and get support for LA. A little harder in Texas.
Yeah, definitely.
This is Texas. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Really easy in LA. They hate California. Everybody does, right?
Right.
So it's easy for them to do it there. So if he can get away with deploying 700 Marines in Los Angeles, and if he can get away with taking the National Guard away from the state without the state's consent, and he can get away with it,
Right. Then he can do it.
then he now has the precedent to be like, oh, I can really do this. And it's the biggest state. It's the richest state. It's the most powerful state. And if he can get away with the big state,
Yep.
then he can get away with it anywhere.
Yep. Anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah. So those much smaller states, they're not stopping him. You think like Connecticut, very small state, you think they're going to like reasonably stop that if he wants to? If they can do it in California,
Massachusetts might stop it.
maybe. Maybe you'll have like a Pirates of the Caribbean, like skeletons coming out of the ground situation. The spirit of Paul Revere riding through the town.
We can't help but to look at what Gavin Newsom is doing and how he's responding.
Yeah, I'm libbing out for Gavin Newsom. I don't want to be his fan.
I know.
I really don't.
I know.
But he's making it really hard to not be his fan. He's looking at the camera like, arrest me, tough guy. What are you, big tough guy? Come arrest me. And I'm like, damn, it's really good. Damn it.
He is trying to position himself, to me, seems like, as the de facto leader of the Democratic Party at this point by taking the fight right back to Trump directly.
If he gets out near the protests at any point, I don't know if he has, and gets up on like with a megaphone and starts screaming and he's sweating like crazy, he's manhandling the reins away from everybody else.
Yeah, that would be good. Because if you look at what Bernie and AOC are doing, obviously with the huge crowds,
but people like that.
So that's
come arrest me, motherfucker. I dare you to do it.
Right.
That energy.
He's more confrontational.
People really like that.
And more resistant to Trump directly by name, which was the point that you made to me.
Yes.
Rather than, Bernie saying, no, oligarchs and.
Yeah. Gavin Newsom with his psychopath eyes are looking right into the camera.
I think.
Donald John Trump. I dare you to come arrest me.
It's because I think that Newsom might be a little bit of a psychopath.
I think he has some sociopathy in him.
But he
hates two people, two groups of people.
One?
Poor people.
Hates them.
Hates poor people.
What evidence do you have that he hates them?
He personally had a sledgehammer breaking homeless encampments, and he's like personally made sure affordable housing doesn't pass in California.
That's interesting.
He's personally made it his life's mission to make sure it's not more affordable in California.
That's not very
good. That's pretty bad.
That's not Democrat ideal, is it?
It's a Gavin Newsom. It's a California Democrat ideal.
California Democrat.
Tell you that much. That's a coastal elite.
West coastal elite.
New York's pretty bad too.
Okay.
New York's pretty bad too.
What's the other thing he hates?
He also hates Republicans. Boy, does he hate them.
And Trump.
Yeah, and Trump.
Particularly Trump.
Yeah, he's there. He's the scapegoat for him.
Yeah.
So he hates those two sets of people.
So what kind of a Democratic Party is
kind of
a Gavin Newsom Democratic Party?
Kind of a thrashing machine that just like demolishes everything in its path. And you just hope that you aren't in the way.
Is that not what the Democratic Party needs? I mean, don't we need our own badass with a sledgehammer?
We do need our own thrashing machine. I'd like for the thrashing machine to not also be used on poor people.
Okay.
That'd be really good. I would like for that not to be the case. Because you can do the I hate Republicans bit. Yeah. That's pretty easy to do. I feel like most Democrats can do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he seems to be the only one who's not scared of confrontation, which is shocking.
Wow.
And unfortunate.
So what do we have on the agenda for today's quick show?
Mainly just wanted to talk about the protests as it's happening today as of recording.
Actively happening here on
the
June
LA
14th.
Ones particularly because that's been happening.
And this is the nationwide No Kings protest that's happening today, which is the big organized thing. But in LA, there's been this ICE resistance.
Yeah, particularly ICE resistance.
So there's this nationwide ICE resistance that's really starting to
step
up.
I think it really helped start and get this No Kings protest thing started, with LA losing it. And everyone's like, we can do that too. And it really kind of mobilized everybody. I was on TikTok and I accidentally clicked on a live and swiped once and I didn't realize I hit a live. And the next one I scrolled to was someone live streaming in LA as SWAT cars are driving away from something with like guys with ARs and full armor and helmets and everything. And you can hear like explosions in the background, which I must imagine are either tear gas or flashbangs.
Wow.
Because it wasn't gunshots.
This is L.A.
LA. It was
When? Was it when?
earlier this week. It was when it started.
When
the ice raid happened. That big ice raid happened.
And the cars were burning. And
That was after.
That was after. Okay.
That was after. It was when the first ice raid, the big one, happened in LA.
Okay.
Or no, it was a bunch of Suburbans that were driving away with guys with guns all around them. You could hear just like boom, 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 boom in the backgrounds. But it wasn't gunshots because everybody was standing there and the cops were normal. So it wasn't gunshots. My only guess is it was like gas canisters popping or flashbangs.
Wow.
Or it was super loud. I don't know what it could have been. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we're doing it. We're doing martial law here, damn near pretty much.
It's escalating.
We are
Things are
getting
escalating.
very close to martial law. And so that was what started it for me. And then sure enough, 2 days later, it was in full blown protests.
And you see, if you watch Fox News and they zoom in on the cameras, right on the burning cars and, the relatively small group of people, this is just a few.
An alarmingly small group of people.
Right. It's just a few, blocks of LA.
I don't even know if it's blocks plural.
Maybe a block in LA.
I think what I've heard is like it's two separate blocks that are kind of a problem. That's it.
Out of millions and millions
How many
of
people are down there?
Huge city.
Yeah.
Huge city.
So there's 1,000 causing a problem out of 2 million. Do with that what you will. But I saw, so if you watch Fox News, like you were saying, you'd think that like Mexico's invading or something.
You'd think the whole world is burning down.
Yeah, you think the world's ending and
you'd think that the
Mexicans are going to shoot you in the face when you leave your house tomorrow or something crazy.
Yep. And the radical liberals are looting and burning and all of the terrible things all across the country.
They're just blowing everything up. They're destroying everything.
It's incredible how the news can really make people feel like that because
spin it,
locally in our little town, which is, just like you said, a very red area, we've been to protests exactly like we were at, today, a little bit smaller than today, but always a peaceful thing.
The only people who ever cause problems are Republicans.
That's true. Yeah,
that's all I've ever experienced.
But just like you said, the comments that we saw on media yesterday leading up to the protests that were happening here today about how they're ready to shoot looters and people.
Yeah.
There was even the sheriff in Florida who said that we will kill you graveyard dead if you throw a brick. Like if you throw a brick through a window, you're going to get shot.
Yeah, it means you get shot. Yeah, that's probably not true. Not a good thing.
But it's Fox News that's making everybody think that
really
radical left lunatics are destroying
the rioters,
everything.
The looters.
But that doesn't even happen.
This is a post in our local community. I won't say which community, but our local community was reposted. We are at war. The battle for this country is occurring in California right now. And they're trying to bring it to our streets via No Kings this weekend. I've never been so certain about anything as I am with this. And
give me a break.
Oh, yeah. And if you decide to go to the square this weekend,
which is where we were,
which is where the downtown square, the left fascists will have paid protesters who will start conflict mixed with local leftists just exercising their First Amendment rights.
Wonder if anybody was paid out there. Did it seem like anybody was paid to you?
Wish I was paid.
I didn't get my check.
I actually know the protesters or some of the organizers.
We do.
They're usually organized these things with like 7 nickels and like an empty bag of Lays. Yeah. And that's what they have.
I mean, they spend their own money and bring waters and snacks to keep people cool.
It's very little stuff down there, actually.
Yeah.
But
this idea that group of people that out there are paid all across the country now, because this is, it's just how many millions of people are out across the country right now on the streets holding up signs.
A ton of people.
A ton.
I mean, it's the propaganda machine of...
It's so influential and powerful.
Of the state and money wanting to keep people subservient and quiet and not doing anything.
I think it's time that we go ahead and call Fox News what it is? State media.
It's state propaganda.
State propaganda.
I think probably is even a stronger word.
And maybe better because it's not owned by the state or run by the state, but
It's definitely state propaganda.
it's a propaganda machine.
For sure.
For the right.
That's the most gentle way I can
radical
put
right.
it. I would say just the right, actually, at this point. There's not even really a right anymore.
It's all radical.
It's all radical at this point. I don't really see anyone who's like, I'm a Trump supporter, but I don't support what he's doing right now.
So where do we go from here? What's next? What do we?
Well,
I mean, are we looking to Gavin Newsom to?
I sure should have not looking to Gavin Newsom.
Are we looking to Pete Buttigieg to tell us how do we intellectualize our way through this?
I don't think any of this is going to really come from a politician by the nature of them being a politician.
So is this?
I don't think it's possible.
So you're saying that this is going to be up to the people?
Yeah, it's going to have to be to really force things through.
If the turnouts are anything like what we had, which was a much bigger turnout than protests recently nationwide,
and you keep it up,
man, it should be a lot of attention.
It should be a lot of attention. I mean, like Black Lives Matter protests got like police departments like completely defunded because of how much pressure there was.
Yeah.
Like people were like, cities were like abolishing their police departments.
It's pretty crazy to think.
Like you got to think about how insane that is. Like
it is insane.
Good or bad, I'm not saying that. Just like to force a city to like, okay, no police then, and they like pass it. What pressure you have to put on a city to do that?
Right,
That's
I know.
an insane amount of pressure.
So strange.
And so, but that was not. I mean, there's politicians trying to hijack it or whatever and co-opt it, but it was just the people out there causing
right.
a lot of problems for people, a lot of protesting.